Good morning. How is everyone doing today?
Good morning.
I came in the office and I said, I'm sure I'm just going to see everybody here. Look at this. My lighting is terrible. Let me turn around this way. Ugh, get them moving. You should all see your pretty faces on the big screen. You're all on the big screen. You're missing out. You're missing out. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the DocuSign. So this is DocuSign 201. So at this point, you should know how to log into DocuSign. I will not be going over logging in. I will not be going over connecting it to command. This is simply going to be straight for, let's make some edits. Let's make some changes. Let's do some stuff in DocuSign. So any questions before we begin? Okay, Linda, I hear you. Good to see you, Miss Linda. See some awesome, beautiful faces here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I am logged into DocuSign. Share my screen here. And the first thing that, let me move this out of my way. First thing I want to focus on is I logged into DocuSign going straight to DocuSign's website. I didn't go in through command, so that's why mine looks like this. So the first thing that I am focused on is, making sure I go to rooms. So to get to rooms, of course, you just click on the picture, switch to rooms. And if at any time you have a question, please feel free to go ahead and unmute yourself. And for this experiment, I'm going to find a room where my husband has bought or sold multiple houses. Here we go. So a couple of things you can do when you're in a room. And I'm not really sure where everyone is in terms of DocuSign or what you're looking to get out of DocuSign. So one of the things that you can do with so this is called an envelope. You should know by now. One of the things you can do with an envelope before anyone starts to sign is you can void it or you can correct it. So for instance, let's say I've had a folder that has had multiple envelopes and I'm just like, why are all of these here? I don't need all these. So what I've done is I've come here. I'm the only person who signed. If my client would have signed, then I wouldn't be able to come in and do what I'm about to do. But for this purpose, I'm going to say, you know what? I need to void it. The reason for voiding it is client changed mind. He changed his mind. Void it. He doesn't want to buy 50 million houses. So now it's been voided. Only thing I can do here is get a copy, view history, or view the documents that I just voided. So that's voiding it. And this is exactly what it's going to look like. So now let's say your client decides, well, I found the house. I want to get the house. I'm going to show you what it looks like to go in and start marking up a document. So marking up a document it's exactly what it sounds like. You're going to go in and you're going to start crossing stuff out. You're going to start making notes on a document. And so I simply can go into the document. Oh, sorry, went the wrong way. Click on the little bubble. You have several options up here. I'm going to click on the create an envelope option. And so I primarily would do this if, let's say I got into a document and let me move this out the way. I got into a document and there was something here that just needed to be taken out or it just didn't make sense to be in there. Adding my husband again so he can buy another house. Next. You just wait for it. I would normally do the Jeopardy music, but every time I do that, my technology starts screwing up. It's like a sign for me to stop. And you will get an email. That's what I'm checking right now. You will get an email that says you voided a document and it will have the reason why. So you'll get that email. Don't freak out when you get it. So now here's the contract. And let's say that the parties, you did a 1-to-4 family, and then you find out after the fact, the parties from the tax record are not correct. This is very, very easy, very simple to do. It's not the drawing tool, but you can just click on where it says markup tool. You can grab the line. You can click on standard fields. custom fields, which I don't personally add custom fields. There's no reason to add custom fields. You can do a notarized page if you are a licensed notary, or just draw the line. This is literally what I'll do. I'll come in here and I'll say, okay, this is not the correct party to the contract. If you are going to mark up, your client needs to initial. So now that I marked it up, I need to go back here and add initials right next to it. And so that is as simple as it gets in terms of marking up a contract. If I needed to, the one thing, if you were a dot loop person, you may notice dot loop, when you clicked on text, it would let you overwrite right over it and you wouldn't see it. Not the case with DocuSign. DocuSign, this is going to be transparent. So if I need to add, if you need to add a separate text line, do not try to put it over what you just marked up. It's not going to work. And then you just come in and type in the name. And that's it. So all the other stuff that's on here, you don't really need. Oh, please remember to check read only. I'll have people call me and say, my client edited the form. Well, did you put read only? Because if you do read only, your client cannot touch it. It's just going to show up to them as something that is not available for them to edit. I don't know, what else do you guys want to know? I mean, honestly, there really isn't much to DocuSign. You can add, if you didn't know, you can add checkboxes. You can add a checkbox wherever you want it. And you can, one thing I do love about the checkboxes, I used to do this on leases and it drove me crazy, where now I just print the lease application out and I take it to them and have them fill it out. But before that, I didn't realize that you can click this multiple times and you can resize these boxes and pull them to wherever you want them to go. I didn't realize that. So you can copy text that's there and just move it, which really helped me when I was doing leases, which now they just fill it out on paper. These are very self-explanatory. Radio dial, payment item. Well, we're not taking payments, so that wouldn't apply. But other than that, there really isn't any mystery to DocuSign. It's very self-explanatory. So who has been having issues with DocuSign and you need us to troubleshoot something, or you have a question? I'm sure you guys all know about this feature here, where if you've missed a document, you can come back, add the document from your room, use a template, or you can upload it from wherever you need to upload it. DocuSign auto saves. Let's see, I think I have a question in the chat box. It auto saves. And so what I'm going to do is, oh, she said, learn checkboxes the hard way. Yeah, when it comes to leases, I do not do electronic lease applications anymore. It is a headache. Lease applications will have you checking boxes for days. I print that bad boy out. And when I first initially meet the client, I tell them, hey, I'm going to have you, and if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, when you get a lease application, there's so much for them to check, and many people don't have printers to print this out. No, I bring it, hey, can you guys fill this out? I leave the address blank, because when you come back here to DocuSign, you can upload the blank contract and then add the address as needed. If they don't get it accepted, upload it again, do another address, or void it out, okay? Let's see, any questions so far? I know I went pretty fast,
Hey,
but
Shalom.
yeah, come on, who's got a question? I heard somebody.
Hey,
Doug, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing, ma'am?
I am good, thank you.
Good. I got a quick question. Can you give us some tips and tricks around templates? They seem to be a struggle of mine.
Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna get my hand slapped, because when it comes to templates, I don't use templates because, well, let me go back. Let me rephrase it. I still have access to.
Tell me why you don't use them. Yeah, that would be fine too.
Because I still have access to .loop. And so my templates are in .loop. So I know I should have fired .loop a long time ago, but I have all of my old accounts in .loop. So I'll go into an old account where I've already had the template, and then I'll just upload it here. But if you're here and you're using a template, the secret to templates, this is what Kim Sumlin taught me, is to go through zip forms. And when you create the template in zip forms, you can pull it out of zip forms into DocuSign. So for instance, when you go to add a document, if you used zip form, you can pull the template in. Let's see if I remember my information here. So I can log in, and if I don't remember my information, I will get it for you. Of course I don't. Let me try again. I'm gonna do forgot. Link your zip. It is linked. See, this is why I hate zip forms, because it's going to force me to go to zip forms separately. 1 second. But that's a great question, Doug. Yes, zip forms is, like I said, I DocuSign, so I've always done it via DocuSign. But if you, when you go into zip forms, you create the template in zip form. Once the template is created in zip form, you don't have to do it again. Is there a way to pull MLS data into the contract? We shall go back and discover that. Let me show you the zip form templates first. Either my laptop is slow or the Wi-Fi in here is scarily slow. Here we go again. Bear with me. Un momento, por favor. And in regards to why that is sending me my information, I'm going to go back and show you to the question, does it pull in MLS data? So I have not been able to pull MLS data in from the MLS into here. The most I've been able to do is if you go down, you have to plug this information in. I have not found a connection with the MLS ID number plugged into here. So all of this information on the side tab is what I would have to put in. Now, if there's a workaround, I would love for DocuSign to tell me that or explain that, because that would, especially when you're the listing agent, that would really, really help. But I have not found a way to pull in the information from MLS into DocuSign. I don't think we had that with Dotloop either. I don't know if any Dotloop users are there, if we had that with Dotloop. But no, I have not been able to find that. That would be very, very helpful if we could. So I'm going to stop screen share really quick and log into zip forms and show you the templates. And then I will, there is a way for us to communicate with DocuSign. So I will personally reach out to DocuSign and ask that question, because it would help tremendously if I was able to pull that information over and save me some time. All right, so here, let me log into my zip form. Yes, I will be asking them. He said, please ask. Yeah, I've checked. I didn't see anything. When I was doing my transactions, I didn't see anything in there. There wasn't even a way for me to write in the MLS number. So, all right, let me get in here to zip forms really quick. Get my code. Go back here. Validate. All right. Okay, so I'm back into zip forms. And again, when you click on that link from, why is this giving me? Is it Monday or something? Like literally get me to zip forms. How's everybody's day going? Mine, I just love to chunk the laptop across the room, but I bet you it's not the laptop. I see the little thing moving and moving. So this is again why I'm not a fan of zip forms whatsoever. I keep my templates in DocuSign and I prefer to keep them there. Now, if you Another place that I've seen people keep their templates. So I do have a Google Drive that I reserve for some of my coaching clients, where I put the contracts in there where they can go. And if you notice in DocuSign, there's a way when you click add, you can add from Google Drive. And so if I just click Google Drive and then I went to where that template was, that will avoid me having to take the 30-minute login that is still trying to happen apparently from Zip Forms. So I love Google Drive, because if I am having issues like this where it's not logging in, I can just click right on Google Drive and tell it exactly where the document is, and then it pulls it in for me. So that's less work for me to have to do. And all I did on Google Drive was I did the same thing I would have done with Zip Forms. I pulled the contract up, and if it's like the residential buyer rep agreement, I pre-plugged in all of my items. Listing agreement, I pre-plugged in all of my items, and then I just saved it in the Google Drive. And once it's saved in the Google Drive, I click that that box, and that's it. I pull it from the Google Drive. If you have Dropbox, I don't use Dropbox, but if you have Dropbox, you can use that as well. What in the world is happening? So here are some, it worked this way. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time this way. These are some templates that I had already created in Zip Forms. So like right here, it says buyer template and seller template. If you click on that template and hit link, it should pull it over into, let's do link transaction. And then here is the one I want, is that one. I just want that one for now. And I'll add it. So what it just pulled over was the 1 to 4 family. And the only thing I do on the 1 to 4 family, honestly, is page 9, because that to me is the page. It takes me so much time to just keep going back and forth to the screens to look up that agent's information. I don't have time for that. So I put all my information in there and I save it. Standard stuff that I would ask for when working with a buyer is a home warranty, pay title policy, simple stuff that I would ask for. That's on my template. So apparently that template is return to form, continue. Oh, it must be my laptop. Okay, let's see if I click this and then go to create envelope. We're going to start a GoFundMe for Shalina's new laptop. So if you'd like to donate, please feel free to. All right, here's the document. This is the document that came over from Zip Forms. I think I want to add another document. So let me go back, because I want to see, my listing agreement is definitely one that comes in pre-filled in. When I go on a listing appointment, I bring the agreement with me with the expectation they're going to sign it, and it's already pre-filled in. So let's select that one. Oh, no, that's not what I want. I'm going to pull the seller. No, that is not my, that's not my contract. All right, third party, remove link. Y'all, Zip Forms is going to be what causes me to literally just lose my mind today. I want the library. And let's see if I can find my library. And I want the listing agreement. Make sure I didn't pass it. And my listing agreement is not here. That is awesome. It probably is sitting in DocuSign, in .loop. Well, here's the 1 to 4. Hopefully this is the correct one that I created. It says I created this in 2015. Literally not working. Lori, I may have to switch to the office's laptop, because this laptop is just, for whatever reason, not working. Bear with me, 30 seconds. I'm just gonna go into create the envelope. And then I'm gonna add my husband to it and tell him not to buy anything. Yay. Okay, there it is. This is a template that I had created. That's why it says 2015. This was with the previous broker. And yep, the information is already plugged in there. Notice there was no property address, no property information. So the only thing that we put in there is the expectation that the seller will pay title policy with that title company, and all the other boxes were automatically checked. That's how you would do it. We left HOA was left blank because we don't know if it is going to be in an HOA or not. So that part we definitely leave blank. And then, of course, I leave these blank because I don't know if they had notice or not, but this is what I created in zip form. And then again, for the 1 to 4 family, the only true thing that we get to focus on is, so there was previous broker, that's all I would put in there. And then on page 9 should be complete. Yeah, that's it. Page 9 and 3% expectation. So that was literally all I would have in there because I'm going to come in and do text, drop the text box and fill in the rest of the information. So there wasn't anything, there isn't really, the templates that I focused on was the rep agreements, the listing agreements, that was pretty much it. Because I didn't know what my client was going to do. So I didn't want to pre-fill in information and then have to cross boxes out if it didn't work that way. So again, to pull in, once you get to zip forms, it's logging me out again. Once you get to zip forms, you can create the template in zip form. You just go to zip form, pull in the contracts that you want to pre-create, and then fill them in however you want to fill them in. And I highly recommend, if you can get into zip forms to do this, do it. It will. So here's my templates. So these are all the templates that I created. And I created one, let's see, buyer template. So if I click on buyer template, all the information is there. You can fill out zip forms and then create a DocuSign that's a template as well, and then pull it in. But this is the easiest way that's going to get you the information. And if I'm not mistaken, someone asked about MLS. I thought, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, that you can pull in MLS information, yep, into zip forms. So if you wanted to use zip forms and then take the contract and add it to DocuSign for signatures, there's a solution for you. So zip forms will let you pull in the MLS number and fill in the information. And so these are the documents that I had in here. And it was the IABS, the buyer rep agreement, third party, general information, checklist, disclosure with the service company, because back then we had a different disclosure company. And then I had a seller template. Let me see, I think I have a very recent seller template. No, I don't. Okay, let's see what this one says from 2016.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Absolutely.
So I'm the one who asked about pulling in the zip form data. So if you pull in the existing, like for example, the 1 to 4 contract, if you pull it from zip forms into DocuSign, the pull MLS data shows up on the top left, just like it does in zip forms. But if you pull the 1 to 4 contract from DocuSign or one of our existing docs, you can't pull the data. So it has to do with DocuSign not having the ability to pull the MLS data the same way that zip forms can. So I don't, that's what it would help me, because we use DocuSigns in our team. And so I'm having to pull, you know, the 1 to 4 contract from zip forms every time.
Yes, so that's what I would love to reach out to. That's what
Thank
I'm
you.
tasking myself to reach out to.
Thank you.
DocuSign, because I shouldn't have to go to Zip Forms and then DocuSign, or I shouldn't have to have a split screen up to say, let me copy this information from this over here. There's gotta be a way. And if there's not, that's absolutely something that I'm going to politely encourage that they work on, because we shouldn't have to be screen jumping. Like I shouldn't have
Thank
to have
you.
this one up and this one up and go back and forth. Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, in retrospect, it wasn't something that I acknowledged in the beginning because I was still actively in .loop and I already had my templates in .loop. So I literally fill my contract out in .loop, save it, and only send it to DocuSign for signatures. But if there's a way to get that MLS information in through DocuSign, and I think that's the disconnect. It's so DocuSign can connect to Zip Forms, but it can't connect to our MLS. So it's definitely something that we need to investigate. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Good questions. Anyone else have a question around that? If you have not been into Zip Forms, all you do is when you get into Zip Forms and you're in your on your dashboard, you have dashboard, transactions, templates, and this is not a Zip Form class. We do have someone who teaches that, and she does teach you how to create forms. So these are old. Why are these showing up? I don't know what this is. This is old. So in my, we did create this template, and let's see, when this template was created, there is my listing agreement. So all I would have to do is go back over, see all of this information is pre-plugged in. There's, everything is in there. I leave off, of course, the stuff that I need to know, so I don't even charge that anymore. So definitely need to go back in and update, but this other stuff is correct. 14 days for staging, cleaning, and all that other fun jazz, commissions, all the other stuff I had in there, correct. I leave the stuff that I need them to communicate with me alone. And then when you go back here, you can just say, I want to bring in, if you're inside, you've already created your template. Now you just tell it, hey, listen, I want you to pull it from Zip Forms. And here's where it gets tricky, because it should be in Zip Form library, unless if you came into Zip Forms, like what he was just explaining, if you came into Zip Forms and you created the transaction in Zip Form and you filled in all the information in Zip Form, and now all you need is signature. So pretty much what I was doing with .loop, but in Zip Forms, if you click this button and you click link transaction, it's gonna go to Zip Form and try to find the link transaction. Right now, I have linked the buyer template. I'm gonna remove that link. And let's see if it pulls in the other. And here are the transactions I have. So let's say, is it pronounced Alan? Okay, so let's say Alan was in Zip Forms and he created the transaction. He filled out everything he needed to fill out. All he's missing is the client's signature. He would do exactly what I just did. Come over here, click on add, and then Zip Forms. Now he's gonna find that transaction that he just did. So for instance, if this was the transaction he just did, let's do aquatic. Okay, and then create, or I'm sorry, I don't wanna create a new room. I want to add it to this room. Let's see, let's do aquatic and then link. So now aquatic is linked to this transaction. So aquatic is now going to be inside of this transaction. Link transaction, there it is, add. Well, I didn't have any contracts in that one. So there is, let me see, but that's how you would pull the contract in. So if you wanna do everything over here, because it attaches to the MLS, and you can just put in an MLS number and everything will copy over, work in Zip Forms, then come to DocuSign and say, okay, all I need is signatures. Now you're here, you add it, you click on add, Zip Forms, go find the contract, wherever the contract is, and you link it. Once you link it, you should be done. And so these are it will show you the contracts that are in there. You can select all, you can add them, and now they're added to this folder. So now the only thing that's missing is my client's signatures because everything else is filled out. So I would just highlight this bubble, highlight this bubble, highlight this one, and tell it I need to create an envelope because all I'm needing is signatures. Oh, I didn't fill it out. It's blank. So when you have a contract that's actually filled out, then it would come over. So I didn't have any documents in there. Any questions on that one? If you need a template, use zip form. Fill it out here. Come back to DocuSign, add, and then make sure you're save and close. Make sure you're using the actual, gosh, I have a lot of envelopes in here. Make sure you're adding zip form, and then just go find wherever you have it and link it to this room, and that's it. So good question around the templates. What other questions do you guys have?
Good morning.
Great. Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good. So my issue is on a 1-4 contract. When I go down to the paragraph 25, for instance, say I had a situation where we didn't do an option period, but I accidentally, force of habit, I checked will versus will not. But I'm unable to check that. So then I have to, I called DocuSign and they couldn't help me. And the same with the survey, if the buyer's paying a survey or the seller, once I click on one of those, I'm done. I have to basically print that page, white it out if I made an error on the contract prior to submitting it to my buyers. I cannot uncheck it for nothing. So if you
Is
go,
it before you, is it after you've already sent the envelope or before you
No.
send the envelope?
it's before when I'm creating the whole contract. So if you
Okay,
go,
so are you clicking on, I thought I added, there it is. Are you clicking on it here or are you going into the document with the pen?
I'm going
So
into the document.
Okay. Okay, so the way that I just went into it, you don't go into it this way.
Let's see.
So all I did was clicked on the document and it brings this up and you can start typing on here.
Yeah. Now go down to where the survey is. I think I do it this way. Yeah, I click on the
If you do
document.
it this way, then this will, so what, if you do it this way, this is making it permanent. So I don't, because what you're explaining, when it's typing in here, it's going to save it as a PDF and you won't be able to edit it. So like, say for instance, I did survey within 3 days, seller, and let's say I said the option period for, let's say I
Now
want to do
go,
$100.
Shailene, I go back up to the survey where you just check the seller will pay it. Or you could say, now I'm unable to unclick if the buyer is going to pay it. So that's because I'm doing it. I'm trying to figure out how did you get it here? Like I can't click. If I don't want the seller, can you unclick that?
So I clicked on the seller, I just unchecked it.
Okay,
And then I
okay.
went over here to the buyer and I clicked the buyer.
So how did you go into it your way from the beginning? Because that's what I'm doing wrong. And it's only those two buttons that I can't uncheck on in the survey and in option.
Okay, so I'm in the documents room and what I did was I found the document I wanted and I clicked on it. And then after I click on it, when it pops up, you can edit it. Can't talk with that.
That's
So
okay.
now that it popped up and I scroll down to where it says survey, I check survey, 3 days, seller, right? And then let's say I say, oh no, I don't want seller, I want buyer. Uncheck seller, check buyer. Now, let's say I save and close it. And I'm like, oh no, I meant for my seller to do this, not my client. So if you were to click back on that same document again, and you go back down to where survey was, you can edit it out. You can go
Okay.
back in and you can make the changes. Now, the difference where you can't edit it is, let's say you did save and close, and then you go in to add the signatures for your client. So here's what's happening when you would go in to add signatures to your client. The DocuSign document is pretty much locked, meaning
Right,
it's saying
right.
you made these changes, you can't undo it. So if you want to make changes, you got to go back out of the envelope, because what I'm doing now is going into an envelope. So when I'm in the envelope, it's assuming that everything that I have in here is right.
Yes.
So what you would do, get a room participant, there we go, add selected, and hit next. So when this comes up, it's not going to let me edit. What I would have to do is go back out to the documents page. And when I get to documents, then click on it and then make the changes I want. Because once it's here, it's considering this a PDF.
Yes.
So see how
yes.
I can't change it?
Mhm.
So you got to make the changes before you get to the envelope.
Okay.
Once you get to the envelope, the system is like, this is a PDF now.
Okay, that part I understand, but that initial part, I do it the same way and I can't uncheck it or deselect it. I can't. I'll try when we hang up and
Yeah,
see, but
try doing.
I called DocuSign and was on the phone with them for an hour and they couldn't figure it out.
That's, wow, that's odd. Yeah, because when you click on this, this is allowing you to edit the document. So let me see if it still
Maybe
lets me edit.
maybe
Yeah.
I just have a glitch in mine or something, but I did it the exact same way and
Huh.
yep.
Yeah, the only issues that I knew about was option money. For some reason, that field deletes when you go into an envelope. I have no idea the rhyme or reason why that happens, but that field deletes when you go over to the contract. But I haven't heard that you can't uncheck and check. I would say if it keeps doing that, don't fill this part in, fill it out when you get to the envelope. Because now you can go in and do the check boxes in the envelope.
Okay. Okay.
And let me know if they fix that. That's super odd that that's happening. But
Have you
thank
tried a
for
different
asking.
browser, Felicia?
No, I did not.
Maybe try that and
Are
see
you
if it
using Chrome or Safari?
changes something.
Okay.
Just to build onto
Are
that.
you using Chrome or
if it
Safari?
says form
But I
versus
do it this,
PDF.
okay, I do it the exact same way you're doing it and I can type everything in, but as soon as I hit the wrong checkbox, I'm screwed.
Huh, I'm in Chrome. So try, are you in Chrome or Safari?
I'm in Chrome.
Okay. Try it going the other way. Try going Safari.
Okay.
I haven't seen or experienced that before. So I don't,
Okay.
honestly, if DocuSign couldn't figure it out, the best way I can say to do it is if that's the only box that's giving you trouble, leave it blank and then just check it when you get into the actual envelope.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Any other questions you guys have? No, y'all are awesome. See some new faces, some old faces. So good to see you guys here. Again, the only contract that I really just despise is the lease application. So I literally just print that out. And when we go to see our first lease, I take that to them to fill out. Everything else, remember, you can always come over here to Zip Forms. You can always create a template and then connect it. You can connect it in DocuSign, or you can complete the whole transaction here and then just pull it into DocuSign for signatures. However you want to work that. All right, guys. Well, look at that. I gave you 15 minutes to go to happy hour. It is 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, guys. I certainly appreciate you and hope that I get to see you again in more trainings. More trainings where technology is actually working. Hey, Lincoln.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
I am good. Good to see you. All
Good
right,
seeing you.
guys. So good to see you all. Thank you so much and enjoy your weekend. Oh, it's only Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, guys.